Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and if you're new, I appreciate you coming by and checking it out. What we got today is another classic Bigfoot Sasquatch encounter story, this time from 1955 on MICA Mountain. Now this one is a little bit special because there's a sworn affidavit by one William Rowe about his encounter on the mountain with this creature. Now think about that. Why would somebody who is making something up go sign a sworn affidavit in front of a magistrate? Think about that. So to me, this makes this encounter way more likely than a lot of the other encounters. Let me go ahead and show you this location so you guys know where I'm talking about when I give you the details in the story, and you guys can follow along in your own mind, see where all this is, and imagine exactly what he's talking about as it goes on. So let's get to that. Okay, so here is MICA Mountain, the mountain where all of this occurs, and you guys can see right over here is Tejuan Cache right there. Now it's 5 miles from Tejuan Cache to MICA Mountain, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here a little bit for you so you guys can actually see where the mine is. The mine is this little white dot here on the side of the mountain right there. That's where the mine is. And where all of this occurred, in my opinion, is right here in this square looking opening right there. That's, in my opinion, where all this happened. Now there is a ridge that runs right here, and I'll show you a little diagram of the two ridges that he's talking about, where he's talking about the ridges in the story. So that right there is the area where this is occurring right here. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom on out for you guys so you guys can see just how wild a lot of this land is. Look at, there's even glaciers up through here still to this day. You guys can see this glacier right there. There's a glacier right there. And all of these valleys have streams in them and are heavily forested still. I'll go ahead and zoom on in as close as I can. You guys see all the trees through here. Those look like little bushes, but literally those are huge trees. So this area is still really pretty wild. And remember, this happened back in 1955, so just imagine how wild it was still back then, right? So I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys this location where all this occurred. And let me show you one more thing really quick while we're talking about it. Now once again, there's the mine right there. And when he talks about the creature went down over the ridge, in my opinion, what he's talking about he went from this area right here down the ridge. There's like a little area right there where it could have went down, and he said he went down into the forest and found trees and things that where the creature was sleeping. So that could have been right in here, or actually on the other side of the mountain over here. On this side, look at all these trees over here, guys. So there is ample room and topography and area for a creature like this to be living in this area. Once again, MICA Mountain right there. There it is, guys. So as I read the story, you guys can go ahead and follow along with this. I have showed you the area. Now let's get to this story. Now after having showed you those locations and that mine, I'm going to go ahead and read you William Rowe's sworn affidavit. So let's get to it. On a sunny October day in 1955, a young man named William Rowe decided to take off from his work on a road building crew and go hunting. What he did on that day, and most particularly what he saw, electrified everyone who heard of it. Rowe came face to face with one of the huge hairy human-like creatures which Americans know as Bigfoot, in which Canadians call Sasquatch. Rowe's account of his remarkable experience is a matter of public record. He has described it in his own words and has made a sworn statement to its authenticity before a public solicitor. Before letting him tell his story, there are two things I would like to make clear. First, Rowe is a man who has spent most of his life in the outdoors. He is a veteran hunter, and when he sees a bear, he does not get hysterical and think it is something else. Second, while sworn statements may not cut too much ice in this country, they mean a great deal in Canada. I, William Rowe, of the city of Edmonton, in the province of Alberta make oath and say that the Exhibit A attached to this, my affidavit, is absolutely true and correct in all details. Sworn before me in the city of Edmonton, province of Alberta, this 26th day of August, 1957. Signed, William Rowe. Signed, W.H. Clark, Assistant Claims Agent, number DD2822. Exhibit A. Ever since I was a small boy back in the forest of Michigan, I have studied the lives and habits of wild animals. Later, when I supported my family in northern Alberta by hunting and trapping, I spent many hours just observing the wild things. They fascinated me, but the most incredible experience I ever had with a wild creature occurred near a little town called Tetuan-Cache, British Columbia, about 80 miles west of Jasper, Alberta. I had been working on the highway near Tetuan-Cache for about 2 years. In October 1955, I decided to climb 5 miles up MICA Mountain to an old deserted mine, just for something to do. I came in sight of the mine about 3 o'clock in the afternoon after an easy climb. I had just come out of a patch of low brush into a clearing when I saw what I thought was a grizzly bear in the bush on the other side. I had shot a grizzly near that spot the year before. This one was only about 75 yards away, but I didn't want to shoot it, for I had no way of getting it out. So I sat down on a small rock and watched, my rifle in my hands. I could see part of the animal's head and the top of one shoulder. A moment later it raised up and stepped out into the opening. Then I saw it was not a bear. This, to the best of my recollection, is what the creature looked like and how it acted as it came across the clearing directly towards me. My first impression was of a huge man about 6 feet tall, almost 3 feet wide, and probably weighing somewhere near 300 pounds. It was covered from head to foot with dark brown, silver-tipped hair, but as it came closer, I saw by its breasts that it was a female, and yet its torso was not curved like a female's. Its broad frame was straight from shoulder to hip. Its arms were much thicker than a man's arms and longer, reaching almost to its knees. Its feet were broader proportionately than a man's, about 5 inches wide at the front and tapering to a much thinner heels. When it walked, it placed the heel of its foot down first, and I could see the gray-brown skin or hide on the soles of its feet. It came to the edge of the bush I was hiding in, within 20 feet of me, and squatted down on its haunches. Reaching out its hands, it pulled the branches of bushes towards it and stripped the leaves with its teeth. Its lips curled flexibly around the leaves as it ate. I was close enough to see that its teeth were white and even. The shape of the creature's head somewhat resembled that of a Negro's. The head was higher at the back than at the front. The nose was broad and flat. The lips and chin protruded farther than its nose, but the hair that covered it, leaving only the parts of the face around the mouth, nose, and ears, made it resemble an animal as much as a human. None of the hair, even on the back of its head, was longer than an inch, and that on its face was much shorter. Its ears were shaped like a human's ears, but its eyes were small and black like a bear's, and its neck was also unhuman, thicker and shorter than any man's I had ever seen. As I had watched this creature, I wondered if some movie company was making a film at this place, and that what I saw was an actor made up to look partly human and partly animal. But as I observed it more, I decided it would be impossible to fake such a specimen. Anyway, I learned later that there was no such company near that area, nor in fact did anyone live up MICA Mountain, according to the people who lived in Tetuan-Cache. Finally, the wild thing must have got my scent, for it looked directly at me through an opening in the brush. A look of amazement crossed its face. It looked so comical at the moment I had to grin. Still in a crouched position, it backed up 3 or 4 short steps, then straightened up to its full height and started to walk rapidly back the way it had come. For a moment, it watched me over its shoulder as it went, not exactly afraid, but as though it wanted no contact with anything strange. The thought came to me that if I shot it, I would possibly have a specimen of great interest to scientists the world over. I had heard stories of the Sasquatch, the giant hairy Indians that live in the legends of British Columbian Indians, but also many claim are still in fact alive today. Maybe this was a Sasquatch, I told myself. I leveled my rifle. The creature was still walking away rapidly, again turning its head to look in my direction. I lowered the rifle. Although I have called the creature it, I felt now that it was a human being, and I knew I would never forgive myself if I killed it. Just as it came to the other patch of brush, it threw its head back and made a peculiar noise that seemed to be half laugh and half language, and which I can only describe as a kind of whinny. Then it walked from the small brush into a stand of lodgepole pines. I stepped out into the opening and looked across a small ridge just beyond the pine to see if I could see it again. It came out on the ridge a couple 100 yards away from me, tipped its head back again, and again emitted the only sound I had heard it make. But what this half laugh, half language was meant to convey, I do not know. It disappeared then, and I never saw it again. I wanted to find out if it lived on vegetation entirely or ate meat as well, so I went down and looked for signs. I found it in 5 different places, and although I examined it thoroughly, could find no hair or shells of bugs or insects, so I believe it was strictly a vegetarian. I found one place where it had slept for a couple nights under a tree. Now the nights were cool up the mountain at this time of year especially, and yet it had not used a fire. I found no sign that it possessed even the simplest of tools, nor a single companion while in this place. Whether this was a Sasquatch, I do not know. It will always remain a mystery to me unless another one is found. I hereby declare the above statement to be in every part true, to the best of my powers of observation and recollection. Signed, William Rowe. Alright guys, so there you go. William Rowe's famous story about his encounter with a Sasquatch creature on MICA Mountain in 1955. What do you guys think about this story? Do you guys think that he just misidentified a bear? I mean, it doesn't sound like it to me. He was so close to this creature. He's seen it, really, really well. He said he used his hands to grab limbs and pull them towards itself. All that stuff. It stood up and walked away. It could not have been a bear. And once again, he just said that he had shot a grizzly bear in that location, so he knows what a grizzly bear was. He's a trapper and a hunter his whole life, made a living out of it, so yeah, he's not going to be fooled. This is one of those people that, you really can't fool. He spent so much time in the wild. He knows all the creatures, and then when he runs into one that he doesn't know, he knows it's not one that he has seen before. So I showed you these locations where all of this occurred, and I showed you the mine. I want to tell you guys one more thing. There's another channel called British Columbia Bigfoot, and this guy literally went out onto MICA Mountain and visited this mine. I'm going to leave a link to his channel and to that video so you guys can literally see this area. He films, while he's walking through this area, and he shows you stunning footage. I mean, I really have to give it props to this guy. He goes out there and climbs these huge mountains and on these ridges, and you could tell that he's putting in a lot of work to get to these areas. So if you guys would be so kind to go ahead and go visit his channel and check out this area for yourself. His footage will show you basically a video of this location. And if you guys go watch his video, make sure you leave him some comments after you hit that like button, and tell him that, you know, you guys have seen his channel through WILLSTAR's channel, and you guys come say hi and check out his stuff. Because once again, like I said, this guy goes out there in the wild and finds these areas looking for Sasquatch. He's out there looking himself, but the areas that he visits are very beautiful, and the scenery is second to none. I mean, I'm jealous when I watch his videos, guys. I'm jealous that I live in Ohio. I love Ohio, don't get me wrong. There's parts of Ohio that are really beautiful, but nothing like where he lives. I mean, it's not even close. Once again, in case nobody knows, there are some WILLSTAR merchandise out there for you guys to check out if you're interested. And on top of that, I also have a Patreon if anybody wants to become a member of that. So you guys can check that out also. Help me so I can go out maybe to the Pacific Northwest and visit these places and make some amazing documentaries for you guys to watch. That's where we're going to leave it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And when you hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell and then click on the all option. Hit the all. That way, whenever I put out a video, you guys will be notified every time I put a video out. That's where we're going to leave it. Always remember, guys, where there is a WILLSTAR, there is a way. And we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.